Not only is it the time of year of holidays, too much food, and lots of sales, but it is also the time of year where, in New England anyway, it gets incredibly dry. The humidity in the summer is oppressive, but in the winter, it is just gone. So I am today going to talk about some products that are really excellent for people who have dehydrated skin, dry skin, or you live in a place like New England where for a couple of months, your skin is just begging for some moisture. Welcome back to the channel, everyone. So today I have on a full face of hydrating products. Now, this is not the end-all, be-all of all the products out there on the market that are great for dehydrated dry skin. I think in the recent market that we've seen a lot more products, a lot more brands actually, focus on the more mature skin, and that tends to be drier, so we've seen that. And I just think there's been more interest in creating products that have a more dewy finish to them. Just because something has a dewy finish doesn't mean necessarily that it contains ingredients that are good for dehydrated or dry skin. The product that I would say is probably something you should take a look at if your skin is incredibly dehydrated. I mean, is the Jones Road WTF. It is too emollient for me. Like, I've used it, I could stick a box to my face. It didn't work for me. But that's not to say that it won't work for other people, because Jones Road in general, her products are very emollient. From her miracle balms to her lipsticks to, everything. So Jones Road in general, I think, is a brand that people should look at. And I do have a Jones Road product today that I'll talk about a little bit. The other is Sarah Creel. Sarah Creel does focus more on mature skin, and many of her products, I think, work extremely well for people who have dehydrated or dry skin. People who have combination skin or oily skin can also use those products. It's not like it's just for people with dry skin, but some of the products are. For Jones Road, I would say like the Miracle Balm and the WTF, generally you want to be on the drier side, especially for the WTF. For Sarah Creel, there's things like the Moisture Source, which I use today. This is a biphase brightening essence. I use this as my primer today. And there's a bunch of other products that have great Moisture Source or primer types of products. Other brands that have great products like that one. But that one specifically is made so that your skin is actually moisturized and keeping in a moisture barrier. So it's an excellent product for the winter, or again, for those of you who have the dry, dehydrated skin. I would say that the Sarah Creel is probably my favorite for the winter. I feel like it's really excellent for when my skin is really feels dry, especially since I've been sick lately. I think this one is excellent. The Merit Great Skin is another one. The Rhode Milk, and the Guerlain, of course, because I use the Guerlain all year round. But I would focus on the Sarah Creel if I were really dehydrated. I think it's an excellent product. There are so many foundations that I own that have hyaluronic acid and other types of ingredients to help your skin either keep in moisture or actually have things like hyaluronic acid in them that moisturize, and then you put something over them to keep that moisture in. The one I picked today is a really excellent foundation for pretty much anyone except maybe super oily. This is the Clé de Peau Radiant Cream Foundation. I have it in B10, and you can see me putting it on. It is formulated with deep moisturizers like glycerin and argan oil, along with ingredients known to lock in moisture, which is what I was talking about before. Potentilla erecta root extract, and I don't really know what that is, but I have seen like the studies. I looked it up and I was like, oh, okay, interesting. To provide a comfortable and dewy finish. So not only are you getting the dewy finish, getting moisturizers like glycerin and argan oil, and then you have something that locks in that moisture barrier. The Chanel Le Beiges has moisturizing ingredients and actually is made with over 40% of water. Dior Forever Skin Glow Hydrating Foundation explicitly is marked for, a hydrating foundation. And the Sislia Latent Anti-Aging Foundation was one of my favorites. I haven't bought it in a while. I still have old ones that have gone bad, but I keep them just as like a reference point. They have skincare benefits including cherry blossom extract for moisturization and a plant-based sugar component to promote water retention in the skin. I actually think I'm gonna go back and pick up a new Sislia foundation for the winter to try it out again. I always had a little bit of difficulty finding that perfect shade, so I'm going to go in store to check it out to find the right shade. But it's an excellent foundation for anyone who's interested in it. Chantecaille also has great ones. The Just Skin is really good, as is the Future Skin, which I've talked about millions of times. But today I have on the Radiant Skin foundation. And then on my cheeks, I have a combination of products. As I mentioned up front, Jones Road did come out with different gift sets and things that have palettes of the Miracle Balms. So these are the Miracle Balms in a palette form. And the shade that I have on today is Chic. It's one of my favorites. It is a pinky brown. I mean, that's, you know, I love a good pinky brown. These are very emollient products. I do feel like the Miracle Balms are less emollient than they used to be, which is a good thing, because I think in the beginning the Miracle Balms were too emollient, but I've not seen any documentation of that. That's just my take on how it feels to me. So take that with a grain of salt. But all of the Miracle Balms are very emollient products, and they're great for the winter. They really are. Unless you have really, really oily skin, if you have even combination to dry, a Miracle Balm is a great choice, especially if, frankly, if you're older, if you're perimenopause, going through menopause. I would check one out because there's different kinds. The ones that are more pigmented, less pigmented, and just like put it here where your skin gets really dry. You're gonna be out in the cold and the wind. It's a nice product. So I would definitely take a look at those. Sarah Creel. I have on the Sarah Creel highlighter. Sarah Creel's products have a similar kind of feel to them. They include peptide complex, licorice root extract, mushroom extract. Basically support the skin. It retains moisture, makes your skin look more luminous, and is very comfortable. It has, you know, a very emollient texture. For those of you who don't like that kind of thing, you're not going to really like her highlighters or bronzers. But for me, they're absolutely excellent, especially in the winter. I love her Face Flex as well, which is basically a concealer. If you put on the moisture source and just use the Face Flex in areas where you want a little bit more coverage, you know, you're done. It's perfect. I also have on her lipstick today. This is my favorite shade, Madam President. This is a great lipstick. For those of you who have very dry lips like I do, that's the shade. I love the shade. I put this on and my lips instantly look less dry. Now, you'll see me putting this on and you'll see how dry my lips were before. Again, I am still sick. I have taken copious amounts of cold medicine to be able to do this video, but that's not the point. The point is my lips are rough, and the Sarah Creel lipstick, the minute you put it on, your lips will look a million times better. They actually feel better too. So if you're having the issues that I'm having with your lips, Sarah Creel. You don't have to use the Madam President color. There's lots of different shades, but that happens to be my favorite. On two products as like a bronzer contour kind of thing. So this is the Rare Beauty, and this is in, I forgot the name of this shade. This is Always Sunny. Okay, so this is like a deeper shade, but it also works really well for me as a little bit of a bronzing shade, as long as I don't use too much of it. If I use too much of it, then it, you know, doesn't look right. But you see how like bronzy it is? It's very warm toned, very reddish. But when I combine it, this is the Chanel Blush Stick. This is my favorite shade. This is in N20, which is a pinker shade. It makes for like the perfect combination. So what I did, and you'll see me putting it on, I put on the bronzer shade, the Rare Beauty, in the places where you would generally have, you know, the sun hit you, the bronzy parts of your face. And then I took the N20 and put it in the contour parts of your face and blended. And I think it's a beautiful look together on me. I think most people can do it the same way I did it. Again, contour needs to be a little bit cooler, bronzer needs to be a little bit warmer. You know, on a very pale person like myself, or paler than me, generally you don't really bronze. Like even when I was young and frankly stupid, and I would sit out in the sun and try to get tan without, you know, SPF, I never really went brown. Like I got a deeper color, but it wasn't really brown. It's like a reddish shade because my skin doesn't really have the components in it to tan. So, you know, to make it look natural is a little tougher when you're pale. So you just want to make sure it's not too bronzy because it won't look right for most of us. The liner that I have on my lips, in addition to the Madam President, this is Sisley. The reason I chose Sisley over Tom Ford is if your skin is very, very dry, like to the point where mine is now, because it looks really bad without the lipstick on, guys, I would suggest the Sisley. It's a little softer. That also means that it probably does smudge a little more than the Tom Ford, but my lips are so dry right now that it doesn't matter. So I'd rather have smudging than, you know, draw on my lips with a harsher pencil because I just can't handle it. That's how bad it is. Yes, I probably need to go to a doctor. I'm aware. On my eyes, Victoria Beckham. I have this in Smoky Quartz, one of my favorite shades, and I put it on my upper and lower lash lines. Now I put it on my upper lash lines, and you watch me do this. I did it almost as like a contour of my eyelid, and smudged it in with a brush. That is one of the greatest things about her pencils. When you first put them on, they're very movable. Like you can really smudge them out. So you can even use them as shadow if you want to. If you wait too long, it does set and then it's harder to move. But when you first put it on, you can smudge it out as much as you want. Smoky Quartz has like a, it's not even a luminescence. It's not glitter either though, but it's between glitter and a luminescence to it. And I'll let you see a close-up of the eye so you can see what I'm talking about. But it lays down this beautiful base for anything that you put over it. So it's a really great shade to blend out. I took then two Merit shades, and these are both the shimmer shade. I forgot what they're called. Sorry guys. Being sick, I'm just like trying to hang on. I'm just hanging on by my. It's very, very close. Okay, we have Match Hook and we have Sartorial. And the reason I mixed them is Matchbook has a little bit of like redness to it, a little bit of burnt umber to it, and then the Sartorial is definitely like a cooler color. And so I wanted a little bit of depth to it, so I put the reddish one on first and then put the other one over it. I think the Merit shadows are just phenomenal, and they're really good if you have very dry skin. The Chantecaille ones are also excellent, and there's a couple others, but those are my favorites right now, the Merits I've just been kind of, you know, those have been my go-to lately. Mascara is not gonna be a surprise to you. It's the Chantecaille Longish Lash. When I'm sick, my eyes get very irritated, and the only mascara that I never get bothered by, at least over the last 20 years, has been the Chantecaille. I do have the Clinique one now, and I used it the other day and I didn't have any problems. So I'm gonna continue to try that and see if that, you know, has the same effect with the irritation. And when I say irritation, it's not like every time I wear mascara, my eyes get irritated. It's just sometimes when I have congestion and I'm sick and like a sinus infection or something, my eyes and my skin on my eyes, including my eyelashes, gets red and inflamed. And some mascaras just make it a lot worse, and others make it just a little bit worse. And then there's the only one that, the Chantecaille is the only one I've never had a problem with. But the Clinique I used the other day while I was sick, and it was fine. But I just haven't used it, you know, for years. The Chantecaille I have, so I didn't want to take any chances today. But I'd say the Chantecaille or the Clinique would be like the safest versions that I can recommend. And then I did put on a little bit of powder because I have so many emollient products on my face that although my skin is dry, my skin is less dry than it used to be. And it could be because of the HRT, it could be lots of different things. Or, you know, the fact that we do have humidifiers running in our house. So even though outside it's incredibly dry, inside it's still dry, but it's better than it is outside. So there's a bunch of powders that I would recommend. Suku has like an oil something. I'll make sure it's down below. And that one actually is very comfortable for dry skin. So is the Sisley. So are many of the Chantecailles. I would say look for something that says like hydrating powder. Anything that is not supposed to mattify your skin. you'll probably be okay. But the one that I really like is the Westman. Now this is an incredibly expensive powder for what it is because it's in this small little, impossible to open little bubble. But the pink one I think is extremely good under the eye. You never see it. You know, it's like, it's not there. Like it is there, but it's not there. And you can put it on the rest of your face and your skin will look like you don't have powder on, even if you have dry skin. I use a brush to do that. Powder puff is heavier, and again, my skin's already dry. It's dry outside. I don't need that. I would say that the Dolce & Gabbana Solar Glow is still my favorite, but you cannot buy it, and I'm trying to give you options for things to use, and the last thing I want to do is be like, oh, this is the best thing ever. You can't get it, haha, because it's not funny. So those are my suggestions for dry skin, hydrated skin, or just the fact that you're in a very dry climate. I would also recommend some type of oil for your hair, unless you're the kind of person who has just very oily hair. Because what happens to your hair, just like anything else, is it's dry because there's no moisture in the air. Depending on how thick or how coarse your hair is, my hair is very coarse. Take a little bit of oil. Gisou has an excellent oil. Guerlain has an excellent hair oil. Crown Affair is my favorite brand. Do they have a hair oil? If they do, I'll put it down below. I actually have a couple of different hair oils that I really like, but it's not a hair video. I would put a little bit of, just like take it and go like this and just like rub it into your ends and it will go up the hair shaft. So don't put it up here. Even I don't do that, and I have very coarse, thick hair. If you have, you know, if you don't have super coarse hair, if you have incredibly coarse hair, that's a whole different discussion and out of my realm. But if you have hair that is coarse, but, you know, leaning towards more like wavy, maybe curly, maybe straight, I would say just use a little bit on the ends and you'll be able to tell. You'll be able to tell if you use too much. When I first used, which oil was it? I can't remember. It was a Lush product. I can't remember which one it was, but I was like this and just put it, and then I put it on at night. I woke up the next morning. I was like, oh yeah, that was way too much. I would start, you know, with less and you can always put in more. And of course, body. Make sure you're using moisturizer, make sure you're using oils. Your skin just dries out in a way that it just doesn't during the summer, you know, depending on where you live. Now, of course, if you're in Australia, you're having a different conversation right now. But here in the US, most of the country is pretty dry. So these things do, at least for me, change up the type of makeup that I am using. I'd love to hear what products you switch to when it gets cold and dry where you are, if it ever does. Thanks so much for joining me today. I hope to see you in another video really soon.